From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big early mornings broadcast this Thursday morning with you direct from Santa Monica about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Huge great news. We'll be going over the breaking news about the fourth stimulus, how much you get from those Democrats, how much they want those monthly stimulus checks, and when the voting process will go to the finish line. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which heats up this fall with another stimulus check and the raising of your benefits, and the breaking news from Jay Powell that signals that benefits will literally go through the roof. I'll be going over the breaking news, and it's absolutely incredible. Then we turn to the big money you can get, thousands of dollars across the board, and one viewer got $12,000 from this. You can do it as well. And then you'll hear for the first time on this early morning's broadcast, breaking news about the eviction moratorium, the student loan debt forgiveness, and FPUC. It's a big early mornings broadcast with a lot of breaking news. I'm here, you're here. Let's get to the wonderful details because the coffee's coughing, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the bacon is still darn missing. This is Early Mornings LALATE. Almost just one more day to the weekend, and you are there. Well, how's the weather where you are? It was beautiful Thursday. It was beautiful Wednesday here in Santa Monica, California. The sun was perfect, clear skies, and a little bit of breeze. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, we have incredible breaking news that you're going to hear for the first time on this early morning's broadcast about the process. We'll be going over the check, the voting process, and how much those Democrats want you to have. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which we have huge news, wonderful news from Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, of the detail additionally about raising up your benefits and that fifth stimulus check. And then we cut to the big money across the board as one viewer got $12,000. Art got two items, rent and utility, and also internet. Jennifer got money for her children, several people. You're just killing it. And finally, for the first time on Early Mornings LALATE, a new update. Breaking news about the CDC eviction moratorium and breaking news about student loan debt forgiveness and FPUC. What a big show it's going to be. And this is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial channel in America, live in the morning and taped in the afternoons. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Hit that subscribe button right now. Thank you for Tuesday and Monday being our two biggest days of subscriber growth in recent weeks. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes. It helps and also delivers a nice vinaigrette salad. At least that's what I was told. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that fourth stimulus with the details that breaks down between the House bill and the Senate proposal. House bill, Senate proposal, both monthly stimulus checks, but slightly different amounts of payouts and different number of checks. Let's start with it right now. House, pandemic plus 1 year monthly stimulus checks. Senators, July to December, so less checks from the senators. Let's look at the monthly payouts. The monthly payouts are slightly different. The House, $2,000 first month, $1,000 thereafter monthly. Senators unknown monthly, but word on the street is the senators want to pay you this monthly. Wow, now that's deliciousness. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. That is savory. But wait, there's something we have to go over, and it's the issue of pandemic plus 1 year. If you're in the live chat just after 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, get ready to vote House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from. And also, how's the weather? But here's the issue. Well, those legislators may contend the pandemic's over. And if they do, well, that will just reduce it to 1 year of House checks, which under the House bill from Jalapal is $13,000. Compared to that to the senators over 6 months and this, I think you have an opinion now. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now. House of Senate. House of Senate. Vote right now. I want to see you vote in and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Let's go over all the details. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? You do. Democrats want everyone who got a third stimulus check to get a fourth stimulus check. Single individual, 75,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. So there you go. The fourth stimulus check is a check that is not income, so it's not taxable. And the fourth stimulus check comes monthly. It doesn't come in waves. So if you saw the stimulus check last night on the dance floor in the discotheque trying to do the Madonna wave dance, the Vogue, and you tried to wave at the check, hey check, how you doing? Did the check wave back at me, or was that a bad dance move? No, the check don't wave. It doesn't wave at you, darn check. I don't like a dance movie anyway. So it's not a waveable check, and it probably can't even dance either. It's just not a waveable check. That's just, yeah. So imagine if it was a debit card trying to dance, and we just so stiff. But there you go. The Democrats represent that the fourth stimulus check would go out in the month of July, for the month of July, and the month of August, for the month of August. I don't know if the Democrats can dance any better than the check, but the final vote will go to a vote by July 4th. I wonder how Chuck dances. So there you go. That is the first of your three updates in this video about the fourth stimulus check. But in the second part, we'll be going over new details you're seeing for the first time about the way they combine parts of the bill together and how they vote on them as one part at a time until they vote on it as a full. But let's get a preview of the second half of this video. And it's fifth stimulus, and it heats up with not just a fifth stimulus check, but the raising up of your benefits lifetime. And Jay Powell had those incredible comments. They're incredible comments, your head of the Federal Reserve, that all signals the importance of why that fifth stimulus is so exciting. That's coming up in the second half of this video. But let's get some money. Let's get some money. It's Thursday. It's almost time for the weekend. You need some money, so let's do it. That's what I do on this channel. I get people money. I got viewers $25 million of EIDL loans in spring of last year to save their businesses, their homes, and their employees' homes when the pandemic was ravaging. And then in fall 2020, it was just sort of like now, where we're waiting for fourth stimulus. We were then waiting for second stimulus, and we needed money. So I got people $250,000 for much the same items we're going to go over right now. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. So get a pen and paper ready. Or if it's Crayola Crown, if you must, match my outfit. And get it ready, because I'm going to go over a lot of money for you. Stay to the very end of this video. We're going to start with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. And it's a lot of money. It's about $5,000 for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. And how do you get it? I'm going to show you those details. But first, it's important to know that each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, reach out to the next. All right, you're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, and your state housing authority. And keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. But you don't use those words they don't know. No, you don't use the word like stimulus. They don't know that word. Or Nancy's fan club. They don't know that word either. Fan club? I did not. They say, sir, there's no such thing. There you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda, who got this big pot of money. And if you got any money from this channel, jump in the live chat right now, because it inspires me. It inspires someone else to say, I can get that money. I can go get that money as well. And who got that money? Well, one viewer got $12,000 in rent 2 days ago on this channel. And that's not an anomaly. I got a lot of viewers who got $12,000 to $15,000 in December. Tyrone got $15,000 for his family in December in Boston. So congratulations to that viewer. But the next pot of money is SNAP. And one viewer last week got $5,000. The week before, the viewer got $6,000 to $7,000. Lynn Glenn got it for herself and her son and her mom, and Gail got it. What is it? It's money for food. SNAP is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. So reach out. How much does it pay? a fortune. A family in foreign Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year for SNAP. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December for everyone. So go get it. You're killing it. I'm killing it. Everyone's killing it except maybe the check with those darn dance moves. What is that? That's not killing it. That's just, maybe ruining the dance floor. But $16,000 for SNAP for a family of four, and in Hawaii, and $5,000 for rent. We're only 10 minutes into this video. I got more money for you right now, and it's $5,000. It's about $5,000 that comes to you from your state. How do you get it? Let's go over all the details. The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment assistance to no fault of your own, and then asking you to return the money back. Well, the federal government said, no, that was the citizens' money to keep. It was not their fault. Your computer doesn't work. So the money is coming back to you. Where is it coming? To the account you have on file of your state. When is the money coming back to you? Reach out to your respective state and say, hi, where's my money coming back for that check that was tied to your bad computers? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? Yeah. There you go. And finally, our last pot of money, and it's wonderful. It's coming from IRS. Cog got it, Margaret got it, Michael got it. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat. Let's go over the details. It is the refund of your unemployment benefits, taxes. So let's go over the details. Let's go over how much, where, when, and how to track it. Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance. You filed a tax return and paid your total tax bill was $5,000, of which was $4,000 for the taxes on unemployment assistance. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail, whatever you had set up. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, go in there and do a transcript search. And you'll just be surprised the information it reveals to you you never knew. It'll reveal when you filed the tax return, when you paid the taxes, the directions to $12 ice cream places across the country. And then it will reveal the recipe for the Casinos enchilada. And finally, it will reveal when you're getting your tax return check back. And boy, can we get better news than that? We can with the second of your fourth stimulus check updates of 2021 starting right now. Let's start with those breaking three items which you were wondering about. Eviction moratorium. Overnight, the CDC announced that the eviction moratorium may get extended for an additional month. It's set to expire June 30th, and now considering extending it for another month. The official announcement still pending. Number two, Elizabeth Warren has announced that she will oppose the president's number 3 appointee for confirmation at the Department of Education. She says it's regarding student loan payment issues, but insiders are questioning, and I certainly think it is, it's because she has not gotten a determination from the White House yet, still, about the $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness. The White House has still yet to make a determination of the $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debts are still on freeze mode to paying them back, but even the lifting of the mode is causing a lot of angst with Warren. So is she blocking the appointee because of the $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness still not being decided by the White House? I think she is, but she says she's not. And then finally, FPUC, a new report that says that states that ended FPUC did not show people getting back to work. In fact, those states showed that people were not looking for jobs. Very interesting. It dispels the notion that cutting off FPUC improves labor situations. So very fascinating. All right, let's get to forced stimulus. Forced stimulus heats up with the voting starting, but let me explain some of the details that you need to know that are new for Early Mornings LA. There are two, when we're talking about a stimulus package, the reason why we call it a package is because it has a lot of stuff in there. It's not a standalone bill. If there was just a tax on yogurt is the only thing that's happening in a bill, then that would go to one subcommittee on taxes and out and vote and we'd be done. But when we're talking about package, we're talking about a lot of different things that have to have oversight in different subcommittees. Stimulus checks are overseen by the House Ways and Means Committee. They also oversee FPUC unemployment. Education is done by the Education Committee. So you have different committees that do different things. The way they work on legislation when you're doing a recon is the following. Viewers have been asking me to go through these details, which I was avoiding because I think it's a little complicated. But now they're thanking me for going over the details. So let me hit this nail on the head. They first have to do the procedural bill, which has really not much of nothing in there. Procedurally, they have to vote on the procedural bill. While they're voting on the procedural bill, they can be marking up the substantive bill. They confirm they're currently marking up the substantive bill. Now, when we're talking about these words like bill or bills, we're being very loose with the term. Let's be very literal of what's happening. The procedural bill is its own bill. It gets called for a vote and it's approved. It's its own bill. When we're talking about the substantive bill does not become a bill until all its parts are put together. And how does that go? Let's go over all the details. Each subcommittee has its part of what will eventually become a bill. It could be about 100 pages, let's say, on the House Ways and Means Committee to do their part of the bill. And the Education Department could have another 100 pages. Each of those subcommittees marking up their 100 pages of that, what will become a part of the bill. When each subcommittee is done with their 100 plus pages approximately of that part of the bill, they call those parts for that part for a vote. So let's say the Education Subcommittee has 100 pages. When they're done marking up those 100 pages, they call that for a vote in the Education Department. Across the hall, the House Ways and Means is doing their 100 pages. When they're done with their 100 pages, they call that for a vote. And when those are all done, then they're combined into one big draft of a bill. That draft of a bill, let's say has 10 subcommittees at 100 pages each, is now a 1,000-page draft of a bill that's sent to the floor of the House as a bill to vote on, now 1,000 pages, and then the House can still modify the bill. And then finally, the bill goes off to the Senate. So it's important to understand that's the process at issue. Now, how did we get to this wonderful step? Well, we got to this wonderful step by Schumer. On the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, Schumer confirmed that we're currently under reconciliation and it will be done by July 4th. Let me make very clear. Schumer and Pelosi have mentioned that July 4th date 1,000 times. Not one time, but 1,000 times. The final vote will be by July 4th. How do we get to that great spot? From Jalapal. Jalapal wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote. Call the vote. And Jalapal's letter was co-signed by about 12 House Democrats, who are among the 100-plus House Democrats who were in the president letter weeks earlier saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks at the fourth stimulus package. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter recently and saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks, which we're going to write into the fourth stimulus package. Well, who are these people? They're on that subcommittee which I just described to you that is responsible solely for doing stimulus checks. They wrote the first stimulus check. They wrote the second. They wrote the third. And they represent they're writing the fourth. And guess what? They also represent they're writing the fifth stimulus check as well. Wow, now that's wonderful news, and that's coming up later in this video. Can we top that? Yes. As the president 2 weekends ago did it, Biden did it. He went overseas internationally and got the leaders of countries to anchor to the edge of the finish line the fourth stimulus by taking provisions no longer needed in the fourth stimulus about international taxes and getting them covered by an international agreement. Let me go over what this involves and how it was done. Fourth stimulus is paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. Well, the president said, I'm worried about raising the U.S. corporate tax rate because U.S. corporations may move to another country where the tax rate is lower. So we reached out to those other countries, and those countries said, yeah, we'll raise it. And to which the president said to his staff, I'm liking how this is going. Book me for overseas trip around the holidays and give me a Santa hat for that as well. And when we meet with those leaders, we'll take out the provisions. Well, he surprised us all because he made that trip 2 Saturdays ago. Biden did it by getting those countries to agree to the finish line, agree to the agreement, agree to the details of that corporate tax rate now, which anchors fourth stimulus to the finish line because no longer the provisions needed about certain international tax consequences. They're covered in the international agreement. Wow, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes. As Jalapal spoke about the situation last Friday, explaining to us basically that the president has two key progressive policies he must have in this draft of this bill. They are climate and they are CARES economy, which refers to seniors and medicine, and that the Progressive Caucus is getting them in there and making sure they go to the finish line. To which the president says, "Thank you. I got your back. What do you want in there?" And Jalapal has reportedly indicated monthly stimulus checks. Is there anything better than that? There is. It's your third part of your fourth stimulus check update coming up after this commercial break and the breaking news about fifth stimulus as well. But is there something better than that? There is. The volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, or SNAP, reach out to the volunteers. They're absolute salt of the earth. They embody the true Purple Power spirit. They're viewers just like you who have stepped forward to help others get that money. That's the Purple Power spirit. People helping people. So if you need help, reach out to them. Where are they? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll find an emoji of a house. Next to the emoji of a house is the link to the community page, news.lalate.com/community. On that page is the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. They'll help you get that money. They cannot cook you a tostada salad. They cannot give you directions to Nancy's hairstylist, but they can certainly get you rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and SNAP and help you find that. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back in 60 seconds with huge news on this early morning's Thursday broadcast, still about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus. Stay with me. See you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the toast is toast, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and the second part of your fourth stimulus check and fifth stimulus package update on Early Mornings LALATE gets underway right now. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Hit that subscribe button, and thank you for hitting it yesterday. Right after this video, stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, currently playing live on the channel. So after this video is over, within 7 seconds, it automatically takes you to there. Let's go over the breaking news from Jay Powell. It's huge for fourth stimulus. It's huge for fifth stimulus. Jay Powell said the following when testifying on Capitol Hill this week. He said that the economy needs to be stimulated and that he will not end his Fed support, Fed stimulus of this economy until January 2022. It's huge. It shows that fourth stimulus is needed. It shows that fifth stimulus is needed. It shows that the Fed chair's comments are same as they've been on this channel for a year. And last year I said the Fed chair said he would keep stimulating to January 2022. He's doing the same. This is the absolute poster child comment to get fourth and fifth stimulus passed because the Fed says we need more stimulus. Now, there's actually even more exciting news from Jay Powell, which was the statements about December. He said that by December, inflation will be at its highest point ever. Wow, that's incredible news. His highest point of this year. This is huge. He said December is going to be on fire. Labor is going to be great. Jobs are going to be great. The economy will be at a massive growth rate. And he says the highest point of inflation will be December. This is huge. I'll explain this to you in a second. Fifth stimulus involves a fifth stimulus check as well. Those Democrats in the House subcommittee represent, they will be doing a fifth stimulus check as well. That fifth stimulus check would be January 2022 next year, calling for a vote around October and November, and then starting to legislate back in September. Also, the president has dedicated $1 billion of funds in his new budget to the Social Security Administration to ensure your checks go out on time. No more of that debacle, third stimulus, and people on benefits. Third stimulus debacle to be solved with this new cash infusion. Fourth stimulus checks, fifth stimulus checks, and also your benefits checks all coming on time. Now let's cut to why Jay Powell's comments are just wonderful. They are so wonderful. You understand that fifth stimulus involves that SSI reform, and you understand that they raise up your benefits, they apply a new benchmark, that new benchmark is inflation, and they apply it in December. You understand that. Let's now go over why Jay Powell's comments are so huge. They're going to raise your benefit limits up, remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let's go over how this calculates out. First, they're going to raise your benefits up lifetime. We got that. That's easy. That's if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, or casino benefits. Well, maybe not. And then they apply that benchmark. You understand that. And you understand they apply in December for next year's benefits. Pretty easy. And you also understand the inflation number is the new benchmark. Also easy. Well, we have been talking about three things that we were hoping for in this channel. One, that they pass this law. Two, that the inflation rate does spike in December so it lines up for when they apply your benchmark. And three, that's a high number. Well, there you go. Jay Powell confirmed this week that the spike is literally at that time and place of November, December. He says at the end of the year, the spike is happening. Wow, this is huge news. The spike is happening right when they apply your benchmark benefits raise, because once you raise up, you never step down. So the only thing that remains unknown still, of course, down to the last minute of this fall, is the inflation number. If Wall Street's correct and the number is high, just as Jay Powell says, this will be huge. Let's use an example. Let's say we go from 4% now to 10%, and that 10% hits exactly in December, as Jay Powell says, whatever that spike is going to hit. Your benefits would step up 10%, just not next year. Lifetime. That's why this is wonderful. Next, they're going to remove an asset cap under the fifth stimulus to prevent you from having more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have other things in your hand, like stimulus checks and Crayola crowns. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to 1960s laws that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty will end. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear the marriage penalty or be penalized from it. And there you go. That's your fifth stimulus. Time to turn back to our huge finale of the fourth stimulus check updated 2021 in this video. Personal messaging, I'll go over first, and then the voting process, which is very important. I'm going to go more details about that today. And then narratives, and finally, Purple Power Push. As you saw early in this video, I went over the details of how we have two bills. We have a procedural bill, which is much of nothing. It just tells you how you do things. And then we have a substantive bill eventually. When do we eventually have a substantive bill? Well, we have a substantive House bill after subcommittees that are writing approximately 100 pages each call their 100 pages for a vote and combine those 100 pages into and pass them, and then send those off to Nancy, who combines, let's say, 10 different 100 pages off to become one bill, which is 1,000 pages, and that bill is then introduced to the House floor. Well, this is why there is always now and then a nice viewer, not necessarily a troll, but a nice viewer, that says, I heard on local news it's not in the bill. Now, I've heard some of those news broadcasters. They're just buffoons. They're just silliness. I got to tell you, this is craziness. There's no bill yet. How can you say that? And they've been saying this since 2020. There's no bill yet. The subcommittees are working on their 100 pages And they're still working on their 100 pages. So they're not even done with their own 100 pages. So even if we're referring to the 100 pages that each little, 10 different subcommittees are working, they haven't finished with their 100 pages. Then once those 100 pages are done, they combine them into something, and that becomes a bill. That hasn't happened. So every time someone says it's not in the bill, there is no bill. Now, I got to tell you, this is not new to me because it happened all last year. It happened for second stimulus. It happened with third stimulus. It happened every single time last year where people refer to the bill as though they've seen something. There's nothing to see. It doesn't exist. And so it's sort of funny. So it's important for you to understand how these parts become a whole. Let's go over understanding how these parts become a whole. There are two bills in a reconciliation process. The first bill is the procedural bill. It's boring, nothing much of a worry about what at all. And they can call the voting on the procedural bill while they're working on marking up the substantive bill's parts, or what will eventually be the substantive bill's parts. All right, let's go over the 9 steps. Step 1, the House subcommittee votes on the procedural bill. Step 2, the House floor votes on the procedural bill. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs the procedural bill. The procedural bill has passed over the finish line. Time to go get the substantive bill, the tow hitch. All right, here we go. At this point, the procedural bill has passed. Not much of anything. Nothing to worry about. That's just the procedural bill. Time to go get what we're focusing on, the substantive bill. So there are different rooms in a hall, and different rooms in the hall have different parts of the bill. One room has 50 pages, another room has 200 pages. And what do they have to do? They have to finish marking up those pages, making changes. They haven't finished that yet. And once they finish that, then they're going to call it for a vote. Now, Leader Schumer's saving time the following way, and this is what I'm reporting. It's likely this is how he's doing it because this is how he did third stimulus, that he's having subcommittees in the Senate talk with the House while the House subcommittee on the same subject matter is working on it. So he does not have to repeat the process when the legislation gets to the Senate. He also does that so that the bill does not get ambushed or sunken into Senate subcommittees. So one House subcommittee, like House Ways and Means, is working on its provision. And Labor is working on another thing. And Energy is working on another thing. There's all these subcommittees working on something. And they got 10 pages, 100 pages, 200 pages. They got whatever they got. Then on the step 5, all those subcommittees call a vote on their parts of what will later become the bill. And they vote on their 100 plus pages approximately. They approve it and they're done. They now combine that thing and send it over to Nancy for step 6. At that point, whatever the House Ways and Means did, they could have either put a stimulus check in there or maybe have not. That was step 5. Step 6, when the House floor gets the total items combined, it is then a bill. It's actually called a House bill. They get that House bill, and then they look at it, and the House members can still amend it. They can still say, I don't like this, I want to change this. Then it goes over to the Senate. The Senate is almost like a do-over. The senators can literally do over. They can take out their scissors and cut a whole wad out, or they can get their Post-it notes and add a whole wad in. So, step 7 and 8 is the 2-day vote-a-rama. The 2-day vote-a-rama in which the senators make amendments. So, 3 possibilities. The House doesn't put stimulus checks in there. The senators can add it in there. Possibility number 2, the House does put stimulus checks in there. The senators love it. They leave it alone. A possibility number 3, the House puts stimulus checks in there and the senators want to amend. At that point, they vote on it, and then step 9, it becomes a law. So a long lot of steps. What's important for you to know is that they can do multiple steps on one day with the exception of the vote-a-rama, and they can accelerate it to the finish line. All right, narratives. Important to know that there's a lot of things going on. The voters' rights legislation in Congress is not this, and some viewers were asking about it. There was another legislation this week called the Voters' Right Reform legislation. It died because it didn't go by bipartisan support. It didn't go by recon. The great news is that this signals that the legislators have more off their table and have more time to focus on forced stimulus, and also gives more fire under the feet to do their recons correctly. Finally, the bipartisan thing. It's not going anywhere. The bipartisan people were basically called out for their game playing. What were they doing? They had never started to figure out how to pay for the whatever they were proposing to do. And the pay for is the hardest thing to do. They were just window dressing. And Democrats are actually now calling out the Democrats that were in this group of 4 people or 5 people as really trying to give into a delay tactic that would ultimately hurt recon, that would ultimately run the clock out, and there would be lack of time. And there you go. Finally, it's important to remember that it's important to stay positive. It's important to stay focused. A personal message I want to deliver for the first time on Early Mornings LA is that when second stimulus was being worked on, it was not called stimulus, it was called continuing resolution. I said we have to get stimulus in there. And it was not a bill, it was a draft. And guess what people were saying? It's a budget bill. They don't put stimulus in a budget bill. I said, yeah, you can put stimulus in a budget bill. Of course you can. And so I pushed to get stimulus in the budget draft. It was not a bill yet. We had emoji, not bill yet. And then what they did was they put stimulus in there of unemployment stimulus. And we said, oh, really? Where's the stimulus check? So we had to push again. And then they put the stimulus check in there. So it's important to understand that until it's a final bill, it's free game. It's free game to put things in there and free game to take things out there. Until it's bill, it is free form across the board. And don't have anyone tell you otherwise, because they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Finally, let's go to Purple Power Push. When you're going on your push, make sure on Twitter you add the Ways and Means Committee Twitter handle, and Robert Neal and Richard Neal and the members of the House Ways and Means Committee, along with your Democrat senators, Democrat House members, your Progressive Caucus, and also your chairs and vice chairs, the progressive wings of the House and Senate. Tag them. And if you don't use social media, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, or Instagram, then use the old-fashioned way, the telephone. Call up the DC office and be respectful and express why it's needed to get these things out the door. And with that, thank you for joining me on a big Early Mornings broadcast. If you stay on this video 7 seconds after this video is over, it'll send you right into Overnight's Crypto, which is currently airing on this channel. It's a big show and you do not want to miss it. It's currently airing right on this channel. But first, subscribe. At 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. You don't want to miss anything across the board. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next on Overnight's Crypto, and then Mornings LA at 9 a.m. live on this channel. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.